The recording of this race is sponsored by JB Transmission. Specializing in foreign and domestic repairs, trust JB for all your performance needs. Check us out at www.jbtransmission.com or visit us at 256 St. Mary's Road in Winnipeg.
Well, our featured drivers in the modified division tonight, Danny Staff driving the number 7 and Aaron Holton out of Newfoundland, Minnesota, driving the number 2 modified. Well, here's to you, Big Al. Al Delane, or Big Al, was a huge part of motorsports in Manitoba. He first got behind the wheel of a race car in the late 60s and raced for a couple of decades, and now he will watch down on the 4th annual Al Delane Memorial as the modifieds thunder to the front straightaway. Rob Como is our flagman. And he will head to the back of the field. We will go from back to front here in the modified division. Lots of money on the line, much more than these guys normally race for, and everybody, of course, wants a piece of it. Racing is extremely expensive, especially in the modified division, and all these drivers would like to take home a piece of the action here tonight at Red River Co-op Speedway. All right, so here is your lineup for the 4th annual Al Delane Memorial. Starting inside of row number 13, in the FYE Motorsports 5G, this is Scott Greer. Scott Greer, of course, a late model competitor here, races semi-regularly. And next we move to outside of row number 12 in the 24th starting position. I don't know if I see him out there, but scheduled to start is the 29K of Ryan Karoluk. Next, we move to a Winnipeg driver that is the 2012 Modified Points Champion. How about it, ladies and gentlemen, for Ward Emery in the 10W. And starting outside of row number 11, in the 75 car, this is going to be Jordan Wall. Jordan Wall in the 75. And starting inside row number 11 in the 69, how about it for Justin Jones? And outside of row number 10 in the 20th starting position, driving car number 25 out of Fanistel, this is the Miller Racing Engines number 25 of Eric Guillot. Inside row number 10 in the 19th starting position, driving the Lee River Transport 51 is Randy Bellock. And outside of row number 9 out of Newfoundland, Minnesota, let's hear it for the 22 of Mike Tiani. And starting inside of row number 9 in the X5, sponsored by St. Vital Electric, this is Rob Gordon. And starting outside of row number 8 in the 16th starting position, a guy that is a multi-time champion right here at Red River Co-op Speedway, making his first appearance in 2013. This is a Simpsons transfer, number 20, Kevin Sexton. And inside of row number 8, driving car number 14 out of Mackinac, North Dakota, this is Aaron Olson. Starting outside of row number 7 in the 14th starting position, the 4S is out of Stratton, Ontario. Put your hands together for Stephen Norden. Inside row number 7, a former modified points champion here. He drives the Pack and Away Mobile Storage Mobile 120X. This is Darian Boyce. And out of the Selkirk, Manitoba area, outside of row number 6 in the 12th starting position, Let's hear it for the 35, Adam Magus. Inside row number 6, in the 11th starting position, is the car 06. This is Jeremy Nelson. Outside of row number 5, in the 10th starting position, out of Fanistel, a former Super Truck star, this is the 48 of Jerome Guillot. And starting inside of row number 5, in the A1 Environmental Superior Asphalt A1, also sponsored by Miller Racing Engines, this is Ian Russo. And yet another former modified points champion here. He drives for Miller Racing Engines and Region Construction. Put your hands together for East St. Paul's number 7, Danny Staff. And last year's Al Delane Memorial champion here at Red River Co-op Speedway. This driver starts in the 7th starting position inside of row number 4 out of Blaine, Minnesota. This is the Wagaman Brothers Racing Engines 14W. Let's hear it for Clayton Wagaman. And a 2-time Super Truck Points champion lines up outside of row number 3 in the 6th starting position. He is sponsored by Santana Kennels. Put your hands together for Marquette, Manitoba's Lee McRae in car number 9. And a driver all the way from South Dakota. We welcome him here to Winnipeg and wish him luck in this one. Driving car number 11, this is Denver Nickerson. And out of Pearly, Minnesota, starting outside of row number 2, in the 4th starting position, the 7B is Bryce Borgen. And your next driver to introduce starts inside of row number 2 in the 3rd starting position. He is sponsored by Headingley Sports Shop, Polaris, and Johnson's Hog Barbecue. And we are here tonight for the great work of his dad over the last many years. How about it, ladies and gentlemen? A great big Winnipeg welcome for the 1R. This is none other than Rick Delane. And on the front row, starting in the 2nd starting position outside of row number 1, this is a Ford, the Blue Oval number 2, Aaron Holton. And starting on the pole, a guy that had an incredible heat race and looks to be a favorite here tonight. This is the car number 16. How about it for Gavin Paul, your pole sitter here tonight for the 4th annual Al Delane Memorial. How about a hand, ladies and gentlemen, for all your competitors here tonight. This is going to be a great modified race. All right, so we're going to get everybody strapped into their cars and ready to get going. I'll tell you what a great field of modifieds here tonight. 30 laps on the Pepsi board. Patience is going to be a virtue for the first few laps. Of course, everybody wants to get to the front. Everybody wants to take the big money home, but the drivers that have the experience know that things are going to happen and they need to thread the needle just a little bit, at least likely through the first 10 or 12 laps. So, 4th annual Al Delane Memorial on the racetrack right now. We want to thank all of our great fans for coming to Red River Co-op Speedway all year long, for 40 years in fact, and supporting this place. We love racing, and that's why we're here. Al Delane loved racing, and this is the 4th annual Al Delane Memorial set to come your way with 30 laps on the board. Ken, an impressive field of modifieds. These things make a lot of horsepower. They are on a narrow tire. They are not the easiest race cars to drive, and we talk about patience. That's got to be what the drivers are going to need through the early part of the race.
Patience and control. You really have to handle that car well in every single corner. One mistake in a race like this can cost you 5 or 6 positions in a second. So you really have to be smooth, steady, and in control for all 30 laps. As I was talking to Rick Delane earlier this week, he said to me, on a given night, you can make one mistake in most races. And a night like this, with this many great competitors, you can't afford to make one. So this is going to be an exciting race. It's one of the best races of the season here at Red River Co-op Speedway, and we are excited to be bringing you all the action here tonight.
Well, we talk about Clayton Wagaman in the 14W. He drives the Wagaman Brothers Racing Engines 14W inside of row number 7. And that driver out of Blaine, Minnesota, looking for his second in a row. And I'll tell you, with the drivers in front of him, you never want to count out Clayton Wagaman, but he has a tough order in front of him. Multi-time points champions in front of him. A lot of Winnipeggers that have a lot of laps on this racetrack, but Wagaman got through him last year. We'll see if he can do it again.
Darren, how big is a home track for a driver? When you've been racing on it all the time, you're a new guy, you walk into this track, how much of an advantage do you see a driver that's raced on this track 100, 200 times?
Well, you know, I think it's a lot of an advantage, Ken. It certainly helps. I mean, it depends who you're racing against. Now, to some of the guys that race 4 or 5 nights a week all over the region, those guys can get a hold of racetracks pretty quickly. But the guy that's casually racing maybe 1 or 2 days a week, doesn't come here that often, it's a little tough. Of course, your local guys have markers set up. They're markers where they're going to, get off the throttle, where they're going to brake. That is important. Of course, their chassis setups, they might have a little better advantage in reading the racetrack. But like I say, some of these real big travelers, they'll get a hold of it. They'll figure it out quick.
And with 30 laps, they've got some time to figure it out pretty quick. So long as they, like I said, stay steady on that racetrack, it's going to be interesting to watch.
All right. Well, Gavin Paul out of Fort Francis alongside Aaron Holton out of Minnesota. They are your front runners here in this feature.
Couple of great drivers to watch in this one. Of course, Kevin Sexton currently in the middle of the pack in this one. An amazing driver here at Red River Co-op Speedway. Has not raced a modified yet this year. It'll be interesting to see how he handles this. He knows this track. He knows how to drive a modified car. But a lot of people may underestimate him because he's been off of a modified for a little while. So he's going to be one to watch. He's driving the 20 car. The guy beside him, driving the 20X, a former point champion here at Red River Co-op Speedway, Darian Boyce, another guy to watch. So there'll be a lot. And Ward Emery, he's always another threat in this race.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event. Let's get
Holton with the early lead. The big Ford squirts out to the front of the pack with Gavin Paul in the second spot. Aaron Holton so far looking good in the big Ford out front. Lots of action in the middle of the pack. Gavin Paul has got his teeth sunk into the 2 car, however, and is not letting go. Well, Aaron Holton continues to lead by about 3 cars as Gavin Paul rolls up on him in turn 3 and 4. In the third spot out of Purley, Minnesota, is the 7B of Bryce Borgen. Borgen a little ways back in the third spot. Fourth is Rick Delane, a little back from third. So the car's beginning to string out just a little as Lee McRae has a little problem on the back chute in the Johnny McRae Trucking 9. He won his heat race here tonight. 4 laps down, 26 to go. But what a race up front. Aaron Holton and the 16 of Gavin Paul. Paul, your current leader in points at Emo Speedway. Your leader's almost in lap traffic already. Gavin Paul on the outside, down the back straightaway, into turn 3. Oh, heads up! Crash in turn 3 and 4, and the leaders get through it somehow. Somehow the leaders get through it. I believe the 75 is involved over in turn number 3. That is Jordan Wall in the Wall Brothers Racing 75. He is out of Greenbush, Minnesota. Can't make out the number on the other car due to a shadow in turn number 3. Scott Greer in the 5G, sponsored by Miller Racing Engines and FYE Motorsports, rolls away from the scene. And I believe that 69 car might be Justin Jones. That might be Justin Jones in the 69 car. We're going to see when he turns around here momentarily. Well, we've got about 4 laps into this one. And some pretty good competition so far. We expect Gavin Paul out of Fort Francis to have a good showing here. Did a great job in his heat race. Aaron Holton, though, out of Newfoundland, Minnesota, a guy that used to race here all the time, has not raced here hardly at all this year, is doing a good job holding off that charging number 16 out of Ontario. Of course, tonight we are racing for Odessa and Piston Ring, celebrating 60 years in business. Many thanks going out to Odessa and Piston Ring.
Once again, Red River Co-op Speedway would like to thank some of their many sponsors: Abel Crane, Johnson Waste Management, Assiniboia Downs, Darren Palin Productions, Cal Tire, 92 City FM, Miller Genuine Draft, Schneider's, Paradigm Homes, Destination Winnipeg, Accurate Scale, and Arctic Cat.
All right, well, we are going to clean up the mess on the racetrack and get back to racing here in the modified division. Well, the leaders stringing out just a little bit. Of course, a good race for first and second. Third place a little ways back. That is that 7B of Bryce Borgen out of Pearly, Minnesota. Rick Delane in the Headingley Sport Shop Johnson's Hog Barbecue 1R in the 4th spot. But last time we were green here during the feature. Third and fourth was a little ways back from position number 1 and 2.
For all your residential and commercial paving needs, call Winnipeg's premier paving contractor, Superior Asphalt, the company with the edge on the competition.
The recording of this race is sponsored by JB Transmission. Specializing in foreign and domestic repairs, trust JB for all your performance needs. Check us out at www.jbtransmission.com or visit us at 256 St. Mary's Road in Winnipeg.
Actually, the editor for the Manitoba Racing Network tomorrow.
Shameless plug.
Well, yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just saying that tomorrow when you edit these videos, you get to listen to yourself talk.
Well, I will. It's not a bad thing, I don't think. But yeah.
See, my wife always tells me that I like to listen to myself talk, but I don't know. Maybe it's going to be you tomorrow.
Better question: does she listen to you talk?
No.
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 See, that's a different thing.
No. No, and why would she?
Yeah. You know, we have great racing here at Red River Co-op Speedway. We were one of the first tracks to provide live video streaming as well. You can watch all the videos on video on demand the day after the races, but you can also watch some of them live for free. So check out ManitobaRacingNetwork.com for all of our video that we have there. We got tons of stuff up there all the time, and we keep it up to date with some stories and articles as well. I figure since we plugged Darren Palin Productions, we need to give a little plug to the Manitoba Racing Network tonight.
Sure, let's just make it a commercial. Why not?
4 laps down in this modified feature, the Big Al Delane Memorial.
Well, how many Ford fans do we have out there tonight? 3. That's more than normal.
That could be the McRae's.
That could be the McRae's. Well, we've got a Ford up front, Aaron Holden out of Newfoundland, Minnesota. In the 2 car started outside of row number 1 in the second starting position, and that big Ford showing the way so far. Gavin Paul in the 16 car who started on the pole, currently second. And here we go with this Delaware-style restart. Now you'll notice second place Gavin Paul has elected to take the inside. That moves the 7 car of Bryce Borgen out of Pearly, Minnesota to the outside of row 2. Rick Delane in the Johnson's Hog Barbecue Polaris 1R inside of row number 3. That's a guy that would love to pick up this race, no doubt about that. Rick Delane, of course, winning the 2000 Modified Points Championship. I don't know how many years exactly he's been racing here, but it has been a ton. Rick is a fantastic competitor, very, very knowledgeable, and, well, as you know, had a great dad. All right, here we go. We are getting set to go. Green flag is out. Gavin Paul pushes Holton hard into 1 and 2, but Holton does a great job. A little bit of action in the middle of the pack, but everybody's still looking okay. Uh-oh, Lee McRae a little bit sideways, gets a tap from the 14 car. Kevin Sexton trying to move up in the field in the 20 car. The 20X is Darian Boyce. Gavin Paul in the 16 car now, your leader, and pulling away from the field. Aaron Holton moving to the 2nd spot. 3rd is the 7 of Bryce Borgen. Ward Emery is moving quickly in the Emery Demolition 10. Oh no, Gavin Paul with problems. Gavin Paul is limping down the front straightaway, gets back on the throttle, but is now a full straightaway from the leader, Aaron Holton. Wow. Well, the 7B of Bryce Borgen is rolling up on the back of Aaron Holton now. That is a good race for 1st and 2nd. Gavin Paul has moved back up to about 7th, but he's got a long way to go, almost a quarter track. Gavin Paul, arguably the fastest car on the racetrack, and I don't know exactly what happened. Oh, heads up. McRae hits a hole in turn 4 and spins it out. Well, looks like Lee McRae and the Rubber Ducky Resort Santana Kennels Central number 9 might have made contact with the tire at the bottom of turn number 4. You can see some ruts developing down there in turn number 4, and that's certainly a little rough on suspension systems and can be a little tough on the driver's hands as they come out of there. Sometimes the steering wheel will spin in their hands, and, well, we'll see how this develops. But Gavin Paul, what a tough break. Now, he was your leader and went back to about 7th or 8th place. This is going to help him, however, because we do go back to the last completed lap of racing, and he will get closer to the leaders now once again. He was about a quarter track back. After his incident out of turn number 4, he slowed down completely on the front straightaway for a few moments and then got back on the throttle and looked just as fast as he did earlier in the race. So, again, we'll go back to the last completed lap of racing. It looks like we have 9 laps in and 21 to go. All right, so Newfoundland, Minnesota's Aaron Holton in the Sheldon's Auto Salvage 2 will lead it. The big Ford up front and in command. 2nd spot out of Purley, Minnesota, Bryce Borgen. He has been giving Aaron Holton some fits. But as Rick Delane said, it takes one mistake to lose this race, and so far Aaron Holton has really not made that mistake. So if he can hold off for 21 more circuits, he could be your 4th annual Al Delane Memorial Champion.
Host your staff party at Red River Coop Speedway. Receive group discounts on tickets. Chance for one member to race in a media car and special seating. Contact 204-582-0527 or info@thespeedway.ca for details. Now, a few of the local drivers here have done fairly well tonight, moving their way up the pack. Ward Emery, who started almost at the very back, has moved his way about halfway up the field. He's always a threat to watch. Never mind Kevin Sexton and Darian Boyce, who are just a little bit ahead of him.
Well, a guy to watch, certainly, Denver Nickerson. Another traveler. 3 Americans in the top 5 here. How about Ian Russo? Wow. Ian Russo started in the 9th spot and is now battling in the 4th spot. Rick Delane to 5th, Danny Staff 6th. Staff underneath Russo, what a race. Gavin Paul has stopped in turn 4. Gavin Paul out of Fort Francis, Ontario, having major problems. That will bring out a yellow flag.
What a rough night for Gavin Paul. Just cannot get it going. He's pulling himself off the track. When you start off strong like that and then you have one bad break after another, it just really defeats you really quick. And we thought he was coming back because he found his way on the first little mistake that he made, found the gas pedal, started working his way back up, got the restart, but just maybe something's wrong with the car right now and that he just decided that I have to, take it off and see what we can do something.
Well, Ken, I got to believe now, I wasn't watching him when he slowed down again. I was watching the action, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, but I got to imagine that might be a fuel delivery or an ignition problem because it seems to be kind of intermittent. He did it earlier, then got back up to race speed and looked great for a while, and then it happened again. So I don't know if it's a fuel delivery issue or something just strange on that 16 car, unfortunately. That's a tough break. A guy that likely could have won this race and $3,000 cash, which might be as much as he wins in 8 or 9 features. I mean, you can make up a lot of money in one feature. All right, Anthony Leake from Emo Speedway with us here tonight. We understand that Gavin Paul had a fuel issue in Emo on Saturday night. And they have yet to rectify it, apparently, so it is a fuel issue. So I told you, Ken, see, go tell my wife I do know everything.
Oh, you're starting to sound like Pat Mooney here tonight.
Somebody's got to fill it, eh? I guess.
Fill it. I'll be the straight guy, you be the other guy.
Okay. Let me be the straight guy.
Ian Russo currently sitting in 4th spot. He's had a pretty good season. 2 feature wins here already at Red River Co-op Speedway. He's made a good move tonight.
You know what? I like Ian Russo. He's been racing here several years. His dad raced cars here as well. The A1 Environmental Miller Racing Engine Superior Asphalt A1 entry. And I'll tell you what, that guy has always been very smooth and consistent. As of late, the last couple of years, he has become smooth, consistent, and fast. So that is the latest component in his program, and it takes a while, especially in a class like this. There's no doubt about it. It is not easy, but Ian Russo has been absolutely spectacular. Starting 9th, he is 4th, and he's got his Miller Racing engines cooking here tonight. No doubt about that.
Another local guy just a couple spots behind him is Danny Staff, just pulling in front of you right now in the front straightaway. He's having a pretty good night. He's moved up a couple spots, staying with the pack. He's got a good shot of moving his way up in the next 20 laps and possibly winning this thing.
Try to go back in history here. There's been 40 years of it at Red River Co-op Speedway. Danny Staff was a modified points champion, I believe might have been 2008, I believe it was. 2008, 2009, but I think it was the end of 2008 is when Danny Staff won his points championship. So definitely a contender in the Miller Racing Engines Region Construction number 7. Getting ready to go racing. Here we go. Bryce Morgan tries to make his move, but Holton just too smooth. Holton out of New Fulton, Minnesota continues to lead. Bryce Morgan about 2 car lengths back. A ways back in third, Denver Nickerson out of South Dakota. Fourth is Russo, but here comes Rick Delane. What a great race between Ian Russo and Rick Delane. Last year's winner, Clayton Wagaman, back in the 9th spot. So that tells you how tough it is out there. Rick Delane in the Johnson's Hog Barbecue 1R is trying everything to get around the A1 of Ian Russo, but is not having much luck. Danny Staff battling with Darian Boyce, who's on the move. Wagaman is there. Wow, Emery is there. Look at the racing on the front straightaway. This is what you paid to see. Aaron Olson started 15th and has moved way up in the pack. Emery tries to go underneath Olson now. Emery now working on Wagaman on the back straightaway. There is great modified racing all over the track. Your leaders now approaching lap traffic. It is still Newfoundland, Minnesota's Aaron Holton in the lead. Second spot is the 7B of Bryce Borgen out of Pearly, Minnesota. Then it is the 11 of Denver Nickerson out of South Dakota. Then Rick Delane in fourth. Ian Russo fifth. Danny Staff sixth. Darian Boyce seventh. And Rick Delane now taking a stab. Rick Delane taking a stab at the 11 car of Denver Nickerson. Your leader a full straightaway ahead of third place. Rick Delane in the Johnson's Hog Barbecue Polaris 1R continues to work on the 11 of Denver Nickerson. About 2 car lengths back into turn number 3. Aaron Holton now getting deeper in lap traffic. This time around, there'll be 8 laps to go. Rick Delane into the third spot. Rick Delane in the Headingley Sports Shop Polaris 1R. Uh-oh, we've got problems on the front straightaway. 2 cars have stopped. Oh boy. Don't leave now, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have a great finish.
8 laps to go, anybody's race. We're going to be tight again. This is the way you want to see the end of the race. Nice and close.
Yeah, the leader certainly didn't want to see that, but everybody else does, no doubt about that. But how about Rick Delane in the Headingley Sports Shop 1R? This race in honor of his dad. Wow, is that guy moving up nicely, working well. Now, he did start inside of row number 2, which is the same position he's in now, but he did drop back, and he looks to be getting quicker as the race wears on. Rick Delane normally likes much drier racetracks, but that car right there in front of the flag stand appears to be working well.
Darren, if you had your choice right now, what would you be doing? Would you be trying to go on the high side of these guys? Because, I mean, they seem to be kind of playing the same game with you, going back and forth. But would you make your move right away and go low and try to get around them, or would you wait?
Well, I'll tell you what, Ken, you know, it's hard to say. If you're in second spot, if you're the 7B of Bryce Borgen, I think what you want to do with Holton, if you can get close enough to him, is kind of play around with him a little bit. Maybe go a little inside, a little outside. The problem is Holton is carrying so much speed higher up on the racetrack. he's going to be tough to pass. If you look in turn 4, it's a little ruddy at the bottom of turn 4, so it's going to be tough for a guy to pass Holton on the inside. Holton likely knows that, doesn't want to hit the rut, so he's going a little higher, carrying momentum, and it's a tough call right now, but Holton looks pretty strong here.
If you
The recording of this race is sponsored by JB Transmission. Specializing in foreign and domestic repairs, trust JB for all your performance needs. Check us out at www.jbtransmission.com or visit us at 256 St. Mary's Road in Winnipeg.
That's where Holton seems to be fastest coming out of 2. You watch him rail around the top of that turn 1 and 2, and Holton looks pretty flawless so far. That's not to say that with 9 laps something else could change, but Holton looks real good in turn 1 and 2, and turn 3 and 4 I think is going to be tough to pass.
When he hammers down on that pedal, he gets a quick lead. He manages to keep maintaining the corners, and I think that's what's keeping him alive and keeping him further ahead than the competition. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with a guy like Rick Delane, who's actually doing quite well and is picking up speed in the last few laps. If he can actually make a run for it, his car could be fast enough to get close enough to him.
Well, you talk about the acceleration of Aaron Holton's 2 car, and of course the 3 Ford fans in the place will tell you, well, they just make more torque, but I don't know, we'll see. No doubt about it. It's a good place to be up front right now, but they often say it's tougher to lead than be in second. Bryce Bergen in second right now. As we get set to go racing, the orange cone is on the front chute. We are racing. There he goes to the inside. Bryce Bergen trying the inside, but Holton carries speed. He maintains the lead. Holton running a little higher, and that is working wonderfully for the Newfoundland, Minnesota driver. Rick Delane riding along in the 3rd spot, about 8 car lengths back from the leader. 4th is the 11 car of Denver Nickerson out of South Dakota. Ian Russo 5th. Well, no doubt about it, we talked about it. Aaron Holton out of Newfoundland, Minnesota is absolutely spectacular in turn 1 and 2. And that's where he's gaining all his ground. Emery up to 7th. Ian Russo back into the 4th spot now, passing the 11 car of Denver Nickerson. Clayton Wagaman passing Sexton. Four laps remaining. Holton continues to lead. Well, Aaron Holton out of Newfoundland, Minnesota continues to build his lead here. 2 to go. Next time around, your leader will get the white flag indicating 1 more lap to go. There it is, 1 to go for Aaron Holton. Your leader in turn number 3 and 4, followed by Bryce Bergen out of Purley, Minnesota. Checkered flag for Aaron Holton. Aaron Holton out of Newfoundland, Minnesota takes the big win here unofficially in the 4th annual Al Delane Memorial, brought to you by Piston Ring in Odessa. Second spot unofficially, the 7B Bryce Bergen out of Purley, Minnesota. Rick Delane in the 1R, sponsored by Headingley Sports Shop, Polaris, and Johnson's Hog Barbecue, takes a well-deserved 3rd spot. Rick Delane, of course, drawing the number 3 pill at the redraw, starting third and ends up third here. Rick very much would have liked to have won that race, however. I'll tell you, Ian Russo with a great performance as well, Ken.
Yeah, Ian Russo really coming alive in this race, doing quite well. One guy that had an amazing race, though, finished up, I do believe, in around 7th spot, was Ward Emery. Ward Emery started out this race in the 23rd spot, finished up in 7th. He made a lot of moves to get further ahead in this race. But your winner tonight, driving the number 2 car, Aaron Holton. Don't go too far, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to interview our winner tonight. Darren Pallin heading down to talk to our winner, the number 2 car, Aaron Holton.
Well, Ken, no doubt about it. Aaron Holton in the 2 car looking awful strong with that Ford power plant here tonight. That is a huge win. Clayton Wagaman picking up the win last year, and now it is Aaron Holton. So 2 years in a row for sure, Travelers have won the Big Al Delane Memorial Race. For those of you that are heading down the road, we want to thank you very much for coming out here tonight at Red River Co-op Speedway. What a great night for racing. It was fantastic throughout, and Aaron Holton caps it off real nicely with a win in the Al Delane Memorial.
As Darren waits for the top 3 finishers of this race to come out for some interviews. Going to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we still got great racing here at Red River Co-op Speedway for the rest of the summer and some of September. Next week, we have the Manitoba Burn Fund on site, and Winnipeg firefighters learn more about fire prevention and show support for our local firefighters. Back down to you, Darren.
Well, thanks very much, Ken. Of course, Rick Delane hopping out of his Polaris Westbrook 1R with a big congratulation for Aaron Holton out of Newfold in Minnesota. He shuts that big horsepower Ford off. The Sheldon's Auto Salvage Trudell Contracting 2 is your champion in 2013. We're going to bring Aaron Holton up here to the Victory Lane stage and have a little chat with him. Aaron Holton just doing a great job here tonight. Aaron? Bryce Borgen out of his car as well. Minnesota native. While Aaron Holton, the Sheldon's Auto Salvage 2 car, what a fantastic night for racing. You had some guys behind you, and man, you took a little higher line, and that car was flawless.
Oh, yeah, we got the early lead there, and when you take the lead like from the start like that, you're not sure what's going on behind you, and Gavin kind of showed me the way around, so I got to thank him for kind of showing me the high groove there. And once we moved up there, we lucked out, and he must have broke something, I don't know, but he pushed in 4 here, and we took the lead, and I never pushed on a throttle so hard before, and it's just a great honor to hold the trophies for Delane. They're just great group of people, and it means a lot. I mean, I almost wish Rick would have won this instead of me, but I hope he's as happy as I am right now, too.
Well, you did a great job, and you used to race here an awful lot. Do we expect to see you maybe a few times more this year?
This will definitely help, probably influence to come back up here, but yeah, it's been, I don't think we've won up here since like 2009, and we haven't really had a car to win yet, so, and the way the heat race went, wasn't sure how it was going to go in the feature either, but Dustin Wall came in from the B-Mod race and kind of told me what the track was doing and helped me adjust a few things, and we got her rocking around here pretty good. So,
great job. Aaron Holton is your champion of the Al Delane Memorial 4th Annual. We're going to present that big check, and hopefully we can bring Rick and Bryce Borgen up here from Minnesota and have a quick chat with them as well. Well, Bryce, a tough night. That 2-car awful fast throughout. Did you think you had a chance at any point?
A couple times I kind of got my nose underneath him, but he was bolted, so. Oh well, I'll take second.
Where do you normally race?
Norman County Raceway in Ada, and then Buffalo River too, down in Glendon there.
So you're racing a couple nights a week for sure?
Yep, and then I think I just sealed up the points championship in Glendon, so that was good.
Well, congratulations and thanks for coming to our Speedway. Hope you enjoyed yourself.
Yeah, thank you. It was really fun.
All right, Bryce Morgan, second here tonight in the 4th annual Al Delane Memorial. Rick Delane in the Johnson's Hog Barbecue Westbrook 1R. Well, a fantastic race out there. You guys were hauling the mail.
Yeah, it was fast and a little rougher than I expected. It kind of chopped up a little bit, but I was keeping my eye on Aaron there the whole time. He was fast the whole time, and I'll tell you, if I'm not going to win it, he's my number one guy to do it.
Well, that's awesome. What do you feel about the Ford winning it?
That's well, I bought a Dodge this year, so my dad's already turning in his grave, so might as well have a Ford win this deal.
There you go. Well, we want to thank you and your family for a wonderful night. I know we saw some great modified racing, and we're looking forward to the 5th annual Al Delane Memorial.
We'll start planning it and make sure that Aaron brings that big trophy next year so we can try and take it from him.
All right, how about it, ladies and gentlemen? 3rd place tonight in the 4th annual Al Delane Memorial, Rick Delane. Well, on behalf of the entire crew here at Red River Co-op Speedway, we want to thank you all for coming out to our event tonight and celebrating a great man and a great event. Don't forget, we're back for Monday night racing at 7:30, then back again next Thursday at 7:30 as well. You're invited down to the pits to enjoy it with the drivers. For those of you heading home, have a safe drive home and a great weekend, and we'll see you at the next event here at Red River Co-op Speedway. Thanks for coming out, and have a great weekend.